everybody hear me? Except for you. Welcome to everybody to the Commissioners meeting September 22nd, 4 p.m. North Golf Course. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And roll call, please, Beth.
Susan Jeff, President. David Eagle. Here. Tony Stallsmith.
Here.
Joe Cosper.
Here.
Ron Page. Here.
All right. Next, we'll take a look at the agenda. Any changes or? Oh, no moment of silence first. Sorry about that. I'll skip over. Let's have a moment of silence, please. Thank you very much. A chance to look at the agenda. And there's any changes or a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I have a motion by Susan Jett to approve the agenda as printed. Any second?
I second.
David Eagle seconds it. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Move forward with the agenda. Approval for the minutes of the August 18th monthly meeting. Have we had a chance to look at that?
I make a motion that we accept the minutes for the August 18th meeting, the way they're presented.
Any second?
Second that.
Motion by Susan Jett to accept the minutes for August 18th, seconded by Joe Kaiser. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Sign these.
I would make a motion that we approve the minutes for the August 25th special meeting.
Motion to approve the special meeting minutes on August 25th by Susan Jett. We have a second.
I second.
Seconded by David Eagle. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. With that, now we will open it up for proper owner discussion. Please hold it to 3 minutes. Come state your name and address. And up to the mic up there. Anyone? Oh, we have somebody. No, I forgot to tell you we have a height requirement.
Thank you. All right, I am Shannon Landsler. I live at 160 East Lakeshore Drive. And I first want to say I thank all the commissioners. You have a tough job, a thankless job. So anyway, but good run. And there's a lot of neighbors on Lake Sequoia that are very concerned about the situation with our dam and what impact that may have for us. I've got a list of questions that our group came up with. May I give it to each person? Or if I read it aloud, then I'll
Sure.
give you a copy.
We're actually going to have the engineer on Zoom, and that would be a perfect opportunity for you to be able to answer him.
Okay,
Ask
so we
him.
can ask questions. Well, it won't take me a moment to go through these questions. All right. How much of Sequoia will be drained, and will it be drained completely? When exactly will the draining begin, and how long will the draining take? And what will happen to the fish in the lake? Is the lot between Thunderbird and Sequoia working properly? If not, will the lot be repaired? What means will be used to close off the channel between the lakes if it's not going to be repaired? And where exactly will the closure take place? Beginning when and for how long will Dam Road be closed to traffic? Will there be any improvement to the roads that will be used instead as a detour? How much will all of this work cost, and how will Sid pay for it? Will there be any relief to Sequoia homeowners who pay a higher SID fee for being situated on a lake when there is no lake? As a Cherokee Village SID members, are we guaranteed that Lake Sequoia will be returned to its previous size and depth? And as a Cherokee Village SID members, are we guaranteed that Dam Road will be brought back to its present size, shape, and placement? And thank you for the time.
Thank you.
I'll take a copy of that.
Yeah.
And good job on the time.
I think all of those are great questions, and the engineer will have to be the one to answer that.
Oh, hi.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there anybody else? You step forward.
John Ross, 206 East Lake Shore Drive. The question I have is, while the water is down, will we be allowed to do any cleanup along our seawalls or anything where sludge is washed in and filled up? Thank you.
Thank you, John. Is there anybody else that would like to speak? Please step up.
Go right ahead.
Close enough. I'm Susan McDonald from 172 East Lake Shore, and we don't live here permanently. And I have to say that we have had a lot of questions about this, with only rumors, speculations, discussions, what if, what about that, is it going to happen, what's wrong? I feel like there has been no or very little communication from the people who should know what's going on. And it would help a lot, the homeowners, to make plans about their brand new docks that they've invested in. It would help if we knew whatever you know, however little or however much that might be. We had no communication. I know people say, oh, well, you can go to Facebook. I personally am not on Facebook. I'm not going to join Facebook just so that I can find out information that I really should be supplied that information. We got a letter this past week. I thought it was all about this meeting, but no, it was about the upcoming election in January. So we've had no communication to our address here or in the Memphis area from this committee or whatever the office that you have. So just wanting you to know that we need to hear more from the people that should know what's going on, so that we're not complaining and we're not, worried and concerned about things that maybe we don't need to be concerned about. Thank you.
Do you have an email address?
I do.
Sure. If you don't care, I'll get that from you. We have an email that goes out with some bits of information, and we are going to learn from the lawyer. That's why we've got this, not the lawyer, the engineer. We're going to learn everything he knows. Several months ago, they said it's going to be several months until we get all our findings tabulated and come up with a plan. So Mr. Jeremy he's got an initial
So actually what it was in February is when the board voted to hire the engineering firm, what they called phase 1. That was supposed to last 6 months, which is what they're going to report on us today, what they found, all the geotechnical findings, how bad it is, what their suggestion is, how we move forward. That's what today's meeting is all about. So we are in the dark as much as everyone else is. We don't want to spread rumors. In our July meeting, we read exactly the statement that the engineer sent to us, so that we're not paraphrasing or giving our opinion. We are trying to stop the rumors and just get the right information out there.
So,
We received no information. We didn't know 6 months. We've had no communication.
okay.
So that's what I'm saying.
Are you suggesting that it would be helpful if we put out an email to the
Yes.
residents?
Email or
During our meetings, we have,
Join her to the email.
right, join her to the email. Anybody else that would like for emails, because during our meetings, if you go on the CVSID website and go to the meeting, video meetings, we discuss that as well. It should be in our minutes as well, that we have been saying that we're not going to tell you, we're not going to put out any, like Betsy just said, we're not going to put any information out until the engineers tell us this is definitely what we need to do. So we've been telling everybody, until we hear from the engineers, we don't know either. We're just kind of like she said, we're in the dark just as much as everyone
I
else.
appreciate that you
We
don't
like
know everything, and I
Right.
just think if you even communicated what you don't know,
Right.
that would be helpful for
So-
people who are waiting the way you are.
Okay, so we don't, right now, we don't know any
And
more.
these questions, we're gonna learn.
Yeah, we're gonna learn a lot more from this than from the engineers.
Well, thank you.
But they were all the same.
I would ask too, if you want to be added to that email blast, if you'll just put your email address next to your name on the sign-in. We take those sign-in sheets back and we'll load that information into the computer. Right now, we have about 1,800 people on the email blast. So please, if you're interested in doing that, sign up. I understand y'all being from out of town.
Okay, anybody else would like to come up? All right, if no one else would like to come up, we'll now move on to the GM update.
This week I received a visit from one of the gentlemen from Village Pride, who has communicated with Ms. Moore. They are going to pick up and do the actual installation now of the benches. Our part has now been reduced to just having to drill the holes for the legs to go into the ground. And we have tentatively set a date for that for the 14th of October. So right now at this point, that's where we stand with the benches.
You say October 14th.
October 14th.
Do you have a volume knob on your PA system?
I can be louder, sir. I'm sorry. I don't have a
She
microphone.
doesn't have a microphone,
I
sorry.
can be louder.
So what she said was, Village Pride is taking up the installation of the benches. The SID will take on, is now preparing the holes, and the date of installation is looking at October 14th.
That's our tentative date set for right now. It's
Tentative date.
October 14th.
Okay. Financial?
Financial update, I know that we've been lacking on getting those posted online. We've had issues with trying to get things set up with our bookkeeper. We are current now with June and July on our website, all the way up through the year through June and July. August is on our table, and you may notice on the financials now, there's kind of three sets. There's the consolidated, there's the retail, and there's the capital. Those are the three things that really shows where our money is and where we spend it. August financials will be updated by the end of the week, and we should have them rolling in each month. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact us. We'll be glad to answer any questions. North Course update. At our last meeting, the commissioners, or actually at the July meeting, the commissioners agreed for us to bring in some help. Not only were we suffering from some problems from the flood, but we had some other issues with irrigation and our pumps that needed some additional attention. We have had a team that came in that's worked on the turf. They are working on our sand traps that were damaged or the sand that was lost. Mr. Klein is going to make a recommendation for some things that he would like to do. Unfortunately, there was a death in the family over the weekend and he's at a funeral today. So I can't really speak to about what he's done. I can speak to the golfers in the room. I think would say that they've seen a much improvement. We still have a way to go, but we've definitely made an improvement. This begins at the beginning of our 5th week since we've had the assistance.
I have one, a compliment from a golfer recently, a set of golfers, and said that it's looking much better. So.
You can turn around and look at the practice green, the practice green.
Well, the rain is helping us, of course, but at the first day, they were able to get irrigation back up on our fairways. They're working through some problems. One of the guys in the golf shop told me last week, he says, Miss Betsy, I've got water popping up and sprinkler heads working that I haven't ever seen since I've worked here. So they are getting things back in order, making some serious improvements, not only for what we're going to see, but how the course is going to perform. So I'm really proud. I wish that Jeff was here and could tell us more in detail about what he's doing and some suggestions that he has. And one of those suggestions I'm gonna speak for him is that he is asking for a pretty nice piece of equipment. It's something he believes it's needed at both courses. It's a tractor with a loader and a bucket on a backhoe. We have an old one that doesn't have any of the attachments. We have a quote, pass that down, with a trade-in on the one that we have. I've talked to Lynn and to Ralph. They both say this is a piece of equipment that could do major things for us at the golf course that they've not been able to do, and honestly things that we're going to be expecting them to do going forward. I would like to, for y'all to consider allowing him to make this equipment purchase by using some of the funds that we have in the capital for the golf course. And we also have funds in a restricted golf account that we could look into. I think those are going to be funds we're going to have to pull, whether it's making repairs to the course or a piece of equipment. But this would be something we would buy, not something we would lease. Tractor we'd own for the next 20, 25 years, I'm sure.
How much do we have in golf, capital golf?
Capital golf. Let's look real quick. I'll not keep a copy of the financials. Maybe a copy.
Well,
Just the financials.
Is it the general fund income?
No, it'll be the last 2 pages. One's retail, one's capital.
Oh, here we go.
The capital account. $43,000. Well, actually, that doesn't tell us what's in there. This tells us what our income and expense was. Got about $123,000 in the capital account. I've also got $39,000 in the golf restricted account.
And this will be used at both courses, right?
Correct.
Do we have the equipment to transport it back and forth?
Yes, we have trailers. We move equipment now.
What kind of machine do you put on?
A backhoe.
tractor, a Kubota tractor with loader, bucket, and backhoe. L4 H02HT.
This is the piece of equipment that Mr. Klein has requested that he would like for us to purchase for him to do the job we've asked him to do.
How much is this?
Okay, what the request is for L4802 HST Kubota tractor with loader / bucket and backhoe. Includes hydrostatic transmission, front end loader, quick attach bucket, 2 sets of rear remotes, turf tires, and backhoe attachment. $50,050. With our trade-in for our New Holland TC48 of $5,500, the trade difference would be $44,550. How soon is he looking at needing this equipment?
Well, if we're going to work on our sand traps, that's going to be something he's going to have. But there's lots of other things he can use this for.
Right.
I mean, this is going to cover a lot of things that,
Well, it's not only for the golf courses, it's for everything, right?
well, it would be owned by Sid. It would not be a leased piece of equipment. It would be a purchased piece of equipment. That would be used by Sid in anything that we would need it for. But it would be mainly for the north and south golf course. Tree stump removals. I mean, he went on and if he was here, he could tell you all the things that he has on his list that this piece of equipment would make more efficient, make it done right, fixing problems that we've had for years.
And has he shopped around with any other
He
tractor or
did,
anything
and
like
this
that?
was his recommendation. Again, I'm sorry that he's not here to speak for himself. I told him I would share this information and tell you where we can pull funds from. And both of those sources are specifically funds that can only be used at the golf course.
So my question is, how long do we want to make the payments for so that if we have any more expenses, we'll be able to use some?
I wouldn't make any payments on it at all.
So pay cash for it?
I would pay for it outright, have no debt on it, and put it to work. No interest, I mean,
Honestly, I have no experience with tractors or buying tractors, so I could not tell you personally if this is a good deal or not. So, anybody else know anything?
I think Kubota is probably the top of the line. I mean, it would be a very reliable tractor. I know there's others out there that are, Chinese knockoffs and stuff, but I'm not sure if we would have.
pull that microphone closer, Joe.
I think the Kubota is a really, really well-made tractor and will hold up for longevity as opposed to other tractors that are sort of what you can call Chinese knockoffs. I think that it would be smart to purchase something of that caliber. I don't know if it's anything about the model number or anything like that, but I know Kubota is a trusted name in tractors.
Decisions.
Discussion? Well, that's why I was asking if you had any other, any shopping around from any other brands as well.
Well, I think we want to stay away
And
from.
this is what he said that he recommended.
Won't pass.
Yeah, so I was just saying to him. So,
Pardon? This company is out of Brooklyn, Arkansas. I feel pretty comfortable. This is a company that he's familiar with.
Maybe price, because Motor's also a Cox. They also sell them in Batesville, shop around.
I didn't shop it. I brought his
Yeah,
recommendation.
so what I asked her earlier was, did Jeff go around looking for, and she said he did, and this was his recommendation after all the shopping that he did. So,
I'm sorry he's not here today.
but he's not here right now.
I have no way of getting, they don't know anything over the weekend.
I feel pretty comfortable trusting Jeff because he's done good work for us for the last year, and now that we've hired him specifically to help, well, not specifically, but to help with the grass and the water on the golf courses, I think this is a compared to some of the equipment that we're gonna be faced purchasing in the next several years for the golf courses, this seems like a good place to start. It's,
I know he's made some really good recommendations for the future. You know, I've shared the budget with him. He's a pretty smart fella, and he's got some great ideas for running the golf courses going forward, being more efficient and being able to do better at the courses. So I have trusted him in what he's given me so far. And again, he sent me the email. This was in it. I did not have a chance to question him before the meeting. This happened over the weekend when he lost his family member, and he's in Hot Springs today. I haven't bothered him.
Is this piece of equipment being purchased locally
in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
in Brooklyn? Has anybody checked our local area?
Now, hold on a second. I've asked the question if Jeff has already shopped around, and she says he has, but I haven't talked to him yet, so he says he shopped around, this is his recommendation, and he's been doing a lot of work for us, with a lot of different things.
There's a couple there in,
Right.
Flathead that have tractors. And
Right.
if they would, match the price to keep the money here in the county.
Well, can this wait, excuse me, pardon me, let us, please let us, is this possible to wait a week? So we can talk to him? So we can talk to him?
Sure.
What do you think?
I could reach out to him tomorrow and see if it's something he can wait a month until the next meeting, or is it something he feels that we need to have a special meeting that he can't wait that long? You know, weather's gonna change on us, and we don't know when. It looks like it's November out there today, and
I'm going to approve this price.
Hold on, let us,
Here, why don't we get two more bids in addition to this one, have either a special meeting or push it to the next month, and then make a decision. You'd have three estimates, and then you could go from there.
yeah. Well, he may have already jumped on this one, so for him to bring this to us so that we can see
Right.
what he's looked at and what we can.
So we gotta have.
I'll ask him if he can wait till November, if he needs a special meeting.
Yes.
And I'll let y'all know.
Because we could,
Can we go ahead and just schedule a special meeting, and then if he can't do it, we'll cancel it?
this way,
Okay?
so.
So why don't we just do
Is there
that?
any day that you can't be here?
Well, I can't do it next week, so it's, I mean, I don't think we're here for that, and there's.
Does, Jeff, you think Jeff's not be available, he's got all this work?
I cannot speak for Jeff.
I'm
I'm sorry.
I did.
First of October. I'm here the next 6.
Well, Monday is the 29th. You're not here on the 29th.
I'm here on the
You're on the
6th.
6th?
Yes.
Okay. So it's the 6th. Uh-huh.
Same time?
Same time?
Yeah.
Is Ron and Joe okay with that?
Okay, wait, six?
Yes.
You're gonna have to call me.
Okay.
I'm trying to go on vacation with my sweetheart, I could celebrate our anniversary. She still likes me, and I'd like to keep it that way.
Sounds like a good plan.
Okay.
All right. So let's set a special meeting. Do we need a motion for that?
I make a motion, we have a special meeting to discuss the purchase of the backhoe for
October 6th.
September,
October 6th.
October 6th.
October 6th.
September back there. 4
4
o'clock, I'll call.
4 o'clock, North Gulf.
And I'll make that second.
And Susan is seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, a special meeting October 6th to discuss the tractor for this golf course.
All right, the last thing I had on here was the Lake Omaha and Sequoia update, and that was actually about the water quality. We have submitted, Lake Sequoia, and I spoke to Jonathan Goodman today from the Health Department. He says that since we have passed Labor Day, that the Health Department will no longer test the beach area because it is officially closed. We had taken tests outside the beach area and sent to the state, right after we had identified what the problem was and where it was coming from. We got one dirty sample, we got one clean sample. And because Jonathan had gotten a clean sample, we thought we were clear. He says that there's nothing for him to clear since the beach isn't open any longer. One of the other things that Mr. Klein was going to tell us about was some test strips that we want to purchase that will allow us to do some of these minimal types of testing in-house instead of having to ship water samples off to the state and wait for them to come back and all of that. So that is something that we're going to look into purchasing. But right now, there's nothing that they're going to do as far as the beach being open or closed for water quality through the health department. The second thing that happened that same week was that there was a photograph of some what they thought would be called HABs, hazardous algal blooms. Because there are photographs of that, they send that to the state, and the state puts an advisory on the website. It is not something that they come in and test for. They're private lakes, so they do it simply as an advisory. They're not saying it is a HAB, they're not saying it's not, but it does post an advisory which documented that we sent off our own water samples. The first water sample that we sent off said that it had something in it, and Mr. Klein could have told you what that word was, but it wasn't the hazardous bloom. Within 4 days, the next sample that went in, that bloom had dropped. It had already, the water temperature had changed. I believe it had a little bit of rain that came through, and it changed. But we were able to send in 2 clean samples, had to be 1 from each week. The state sent an email while I was on vacation that there is a certain test that has to be run to clear that advisory, and the state only runs that test once a month. Something about they have to freeze the samples, and then when they get enough samples together to run the test, then they will run that test. He said to me today he hopes to have those results by the end of the week. And once we get that, he shares that with the State Office of Resource, and they will lift the advisory. Our temperatures have changed with all the rain that we've had. If it was there, it's gone. And that's how that was handled. We also did some work over at the spillway on Navajo. And I know that that's been something that a few people have called in question. I went down and looked at it, and basically how it stands at this point is that the water's not going to go over that until the engineer who will be in town in October is going to go down and do the final inspection on it. How that all worked was that they busted up that concrete that was on top of the clay. Once they busted it up, the area that we thought was leaking, but we also found a second area that was leaking, and it's been leaking a long time. Anyone who's familiar with Navajo Spillway knows that at the bottom of the spillway has an area that's catching water. It's got fish growing in it. It's had water in it for so long. So when he lifted that concrete, you could see where the clay was completely washed off the table rock. They had to jackhammer all of that out. They pressure washed and cleaned all that out and repacked it with the clay. There was so much clay that had to go in there, and it had to be so dense. The layer of concrete that's put back on top of it is like a blanket. It is not to seal anything. It is not to prevent a leak. It is simply to prevent a source of the water to be able to flow across it. You know, the engineer made a comment when I called him and showed it to him on my phone. He said, "Show me the backside of that spillway." And when I showed it to him, he said, "Don't you see? That's how they look." So it was done properly. We will have the engineer to inspect it to make sure that it meets all the requirements by the state, because that was a repair that had to be made for that dam to pass our state inspection. All 7 dams will be inspected for the state. And that was just the one that had a small repair that we could do and get that done and keep moving. It was something. something that was in our budget. So that covers our spillway at Navajo. That's all I have to say.
Okay. Next, Chairman's statement. The only thing I was going to say is everybody should have started receiving letters for the upcoming election. I want to go ahead and mention that. Next meeting will be the nomination. The person does have to be present, I believe, and you can self-nominate for the SID commission. The election will take place in January. There's an early voting, as you'll see on the letter, and there's a date, the last day, that will be the actual voting day. And at that time, what is it? I don't have my letter with me. You don't have a letter?
Voting day, January 16th.
16th, and then we will announce on the 19th. Is that correct?
They will be sworn in on the 19th.
Sworn in on the 19th at that day, January meeting. So if you're interested in running, this is your time. Yes. Is that right?
I received a call today that was asking about the must be present to be
Yeah,
nominated.
that's what I was.
In the bylaws, it stated that a notarized letter of acceptance was allowed.
Okay.
But in the letter that says must be in attendance. So that's the question that we need to make sure everyone understands.
Got the bylaws here too.
I know we've made some change to the bylaw. The only thing we changed was being able to live here. So it would be on page 2, C, or not 2.
Nominees must be present at nomination, accept the nomination, or have presented at the meeting a signed or notarized letter indicating the same. Okay, so in our bylaws it says, I'm going to tell you, I'm just reading fast for myself. Nominees must be present at the nomination meeting to accept the nomination or have presented at the meeting. Excuse me, thank you, guys. I'm done. Hello, please. We got some order here, please. Let me finish reading this. Nominees must be present at the nomination meeting to accept the nomination or have presented at the meeting a signed or notarized letter indicating the same. So it sounds like they can have a notarized letter presented as well.
Thank you.
And that's something we can change. Okay, on to old business. Waste management land purchase update. Have we
He was here earlier. I think Susan met with him and she could probably give an update. We didn't have any paperwork to present.
We don't have any paperwork, but I talked to David about the concerns we have for how pretty it's going to be, what it's going to smell like, what it's going to look like, and he sent me some, I thought he sent me pictures, but there's 6-second videos of what he's done out, what they have done out there, and then of other sites in Arkansas, and I think that we're going to be really pleased with the beautification. So he's got some projects going, and we're just waiting for the paperwork from him.
waiting for the paper?
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion on that? No? Bylaws update from the attorneys. I know we received a whole list of drafts from the attorneys that we are to look over. All I can say right now is all we can do is just take them and start looking into them.
Because
So it's going to be,
chapter 8, we
Yeah.
probably don't
Yeah.
need chapter, okay, so we'll look at these and
just look at them and bring them up the next meeting
we need
to
to,
start.
yeah, we need to.
And any changes that's there too, so.
What about adding that to your special meeting?
Perfect. So
We
we're
could,
making some progress.
is 2 weeks time enough to go over all this?
I mean,
Let
You
me
wanna
take
do
a
that?
section at a time.
All right, I can move that to the special meeting as
Yeah,
well.
that sounds good.
Give us a chance to look at all the files. Okay, now the one everybody wants to hear. Is he on,
Ms. Debbie,
is he
are
up?
we ready to pull them up?
You ready to pull it up? Just a report from the engineer from,
No, he's telling.
Yes, I'm here.
There he is.
there he is.
Here we go.
Welcome.
I hope you can hear, and I'm sure you can't see. Am I on the laptop screen?
Susan,
Okay, so, okay. So, but how about an exhibit I show? Am I on a large screen, anything going to be readable, or am I going to be pointing at nothing? Okay. Let me give it a try. I'll blow it up as big as I can on my end. So I want to start by thanking y'all for the opportunity to speak with you. Today was the day that I provided this initial draft report to the commissioners and Ms. Law. So they haven't been holding information out on you. That this is 100% on Olson. And we really didn't want to give you any information that wasn't complete and correct, because then we set false hopes and false expectations. So we wanted to wait until we really knew we understood the whole picture. And so with that, today's information is preliminary in nature. Some of the numbers may change some, but the conclusions I'm going to present will not change. We believe that they're drastic enough that the information will not be altered. So, and I apologize if I seem to be talking down to some audiences. I never know which way to go. But I want to start with, to make sure everybody understands the term factor of safety. That's basically the resistance of the forces that are driving things to failure as compared to the forces that are resisting that same failure. So a factor of safety of 1.0 is everything is exactly balanced. If it's less than 1.0, it's already tipping to failure. If it's more than 1.0, significantly, some values are required for things. Mission critical parts, airplane parts, that's typically done to a factor of safety of 2.5, because you want to be really sure everything stays together. So with that said, we've looked at 4 scenarios for the dam right now. Steady state seepage, rapid drawdown from current pool all the way down to empty, rapid drawdown from your normal high water elevation back down to the spillway, which is a very typical condition that you see, and then also seismic conditions. You are very close to the magic fault zone, so that is a significant concern. What I'm showing here is a calculated factor of safety for each of those conditions. For steady state seepage, your factor of safety is 0.9. Rapid drawdown to the full depth is 0.7. Rapid drawdown for just a shallow, fairly regular flood event that goes from dam full down to the top of your wooden weir, that's 2.2. That is perfectly acceptable. And then seismic is 0.6. So we've got recommendations from various agencies that govern dams of this type. I presume them all because we're not sure exactly who is going to be the reviewing agency on this. That's something we've got to determine with the Arkansas Natural Resources Conservation Commission. So the Army Corps of Engineers, the USDA, or the National Resource Conservation Service. So on the steady state seepage, it's pretty consistent. They want 1.5. So we are 0.6 below what they require. On the rapid drawdown, it varies a little bit, but about 1.2 to 1.3 is fairly typical, and you're at 0.7. On the shallow rapid drawdown, we're well above at 2.2 with the typical values of 1.2 or 1.3 required. Non-seismic, every agency wants a 1.0 factor of safety, and you're at 0.6. So something's going to have to be altered to meet these required factors of safety. So in addition to the geotechnical stability, we have issues with the hydraulic suitability of the dam. Right now, current outworks put out between 500 and 1,300 cubic feet per second. Now, we didn't analyze that scenario without the wooden weir in place, or with the pipes that are currently non-functional, with those open. But we anticipate that that would not increase to more than about 5,000 cubic feet per second. Sounds like a lot of water, and it is if you're downstream of it, but the problem is that the current inflow value that you need to release is about 25,000 cubic feet per second, or more than 5 times the capacity you have. So outlet conditions are going to have to change significantly as well. A complicating factor there is the portion of the water that is not going through the outlet structure is going out and around the abutments, as well as overtopping the dam by about 3.5 feet. The dam is not designed for water to flow over it or down the downstream slope other than the rain that hits the top of it. And any concentrated flow like that is at risk of washing the dam out. It starts as a small trickle and then turns into a giant flood that takes the entire dam out, which would result in a cascading failure for the Cherokee Dam downstream as well. So the long and short of it is not good news. The next steps, so we're going to finalize these hydraulic and geotechnical reports. We anticipate these will be submitted probably within the next month, but definitely within the Q4 this year. From then, we need to have a discussion with the board first, and then the stakeholders, all you guys, regarding how we want to go about preparing this thing. There are lots of things to consider. How we handle the overflow is one that's specifically critical to us. Do we try to lower the existing pool of the lake down below its current elevation, which would mess with your recreational users and your docks and everything like that? Do we try to raise the dam and allow it to back up more water, which could potentially back up water onto homes? I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what any of the elevations are. Can we just do enough outlet capacity to carry all the water as is? It's going to be a game of chess to figure out which things we can balance in order to make it work. If it turns out it's a combination thereof. So once we figure out what the sacrifices we're willing to make are, then we'll develop a conceptual plan, conceptual drawing set that will be about 10 or 15% worth of design documents. From that, we should have an idea of what it would look like, and should have be able to develop an estimate of what it should cost to do. This is going to be an order of magnitude cost. It is not in any way, shape, or form a guarantee. You guys are not. There's not a lot of heavy civil construction capacity in that part of the state, so prices may be higher unless you can find a large earthwork contractor that wants to do a bunch of work up there. Once we get that conceptual design done, we'll meet back and present it to you. And after we get your buy-off, we'll start talking to the Arkansas Natural Resources Division for approval and see of the concept, and see if we can find you any funding support through them. There are some grant programs that were previously to remediate high hazard dams such as this. And at that point, we run into our next scope of services. So once we get through the conceptual design, we turn this all over to you guys. If you still want to also continue to do the work, we're absolutely ecstatic to do so. But you will have the option to evaluate proposals from other firms or things like that for full design and construction. So I know I heard a couple questions, I apologize, I wasn't able to jot them all down as quickly as they were read. But when does the lake need to be lowered, and how long will it be lowered? That's a question that the Cherokee Village District will need to address. Right now, we have a factor of safety that's less than 1. You now know that. So arguably your insurance carrier might be driving this decision. With known potential for failure, if you neglect to do so and something happens, you may be a liability. I'm not an insurance person. I cannot tell you that. How long it's down for? You're probably looking at a year's worth of design and then another year's worth of construction, if I had to guess. I heard a question about seawall and shoreline maintenance while it's done, while the lake is down. That's certainly something, if I was a lot owner, I would take advantage of that opportunity. You should have plenty of time to do so. I don't anticipate that the CID is going to want to get involved in that. As a public entity, there are definitely permitting requirements that would go along with removal of material or repair of seawalls and things like that, as far as the Corps of Engineers permits go. As homeowners, those are a little bit more flexible, so you may be able to take advantage of that.
Jeremy? We had spoke one time briefly about something you would do in the canal to help keep the water from Thunderbird from draining with the Sequoia. Could you talk about that?
Say that again, Betsy, I'm sorry.
Talking about the drop between the canal between Sequoia and Thunderbird, what would be the plan for that?
Gotcha. Okay, so between Sequoia and Thunderbird, they're connected at a common pool. We want to try to use the existing gate if we can get it lowered. It's not going to be watertight, we know that. So we anticipate doing a couple of cofferdams right there around the roadway where it goes across. We'll do one on the Sequoia side of it and one on the Thunderbird side, and then we would have a long-term pump that would basically keep that pocket pumped back onto the Thunderbird side, so all the water goes over there. And any leakage we have between the two is isolated and pumped back to Thunderbird.
Do you think that this will affect the road on the dam at all?
Affect the what?
The road across the top of the dam?
Yes, so right now, depending on the option we're able to go with, if we don't raise the dam at all, it will affect the road just through construction. There's no way you're going to be able to do construction without having to shut that road down temporarily for the duration of construction. It's not reasonable to ask a contractor to do that work without that roadway in place. If you raise the road permanently to be able to store more water, I don't anticipate it's going to make significant alterations in the long term, but there will be alterations.
Okay. And when you say for it to be closed during the work, is that the 2 years that you would be working on it, or significantly?
So I would anticipate that being just during active construction. If you choose to lower it sooner to reduce the load on the dam and limit your exposure to failure prior to the work commencing, there should be no reason you would have to have it closed at that point.
There was a question about it being restored to its previous size and depth. I don't think that would be affected at all, correct?
So at the dam, that's really an operational function. If we're able to raise the level of the lake, raise the capacity of the lake without having to lower it to the point where we can't maintain your current pool, your capacity would not be significantly reduced. You've got your silt that has flown in over the years at each individual property that this project will not address. You may get a little bit of minor consolidation and some erosion around those areas, washing into deeper portions of the lake. But this project would not address lake deepening per se.
And would it be drained completely dry, or when it's drained, will it be completely dry?
Unlikely. It will probably, there's going to be a significant drawdown, but it would unlikely be completely dry. Now, is it going to be usable? No. You're not going to be able to wade through the mud to get to the lake. But it will fluctuate significantly because you will have to be maintaining that water elevation drawdown with either siphons or pumps, things of that nature, to be able to maintain the pool, because you don't have outlet works at that point to hold things at a steady elevation.
I would assume that the fish will go with the drawdown when the lake goes?
Probably so. You will likely have a significant drawdown and therefore a reduction in fish population. I'm not a fish biologist. There may be some things we can try to do to drive the fish to Thunderbird. I don't know that that's feasible, but we have capability. We have aquatic biologists on staff who can try to advise me of that. Otherwise, it's a good opportunity for a fish fry. That's what happened in Lake Conway.
All right, and the only other thing I can tell you is that I did speak with the superintendent for the bridge below, because if we started a drawdown, it's going to bring water to that bridge that's being replaced. And he said that by the end of October, we would be driving on the bridge. He said the drawdown wouldn't affect them after that time, and they'd still be doing some work, but that it wouldn't matter if we started drawing down after October. So I know that's probably sooner than we want, but I wanted to put that in your head.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Betsy, and I hadn't even considered that. We wouldn't be putting any more water on them than they would get if that dam wasn't there, and it was just the Cherokee Dam only. But I still wouldn't want to inundate them with more than they would be getting otherwise. I don't expect that if we're going to be mission critical prior to that.
And you had also mentioned in the original email that you sent a couple of months ago that Cherokee property owners, Lake Cherokee property owners, especially on the end closest to Sequoia, would also probably see some drawdown.
Yes, so what I anticipate right now, just the expected repair that would be the most common would be to flatten the slope. Right now, you're at about a 2.5 horizontal for every 1 foot vertical. That's extremely steep for an earth-filled dam. We expect something on the order of 4 feet horizontal for every 1 foot vertical. So that means the base of the dam has to get much, much wider. In order to do that, we probably have to lower and maintain Cherokee a couple feet, at least for a period of time until we get a good foundation above established to be able to place fill upon. But that would not be a near term. That would be only during construction and only during the initial phases of construction.
Okay. I think, should we open it for anyone to ask questions?
Go ahead, please.
Wait, let me get the, okay. And hang on a second, let me get sure. Still asking. I forgot your name. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a question about homeowners in all of our docks. Would you make recommendations on how to stabilize and save our docks with no water under them so that they don't become embedded in the mud? And also, I had a question. When you mentioned that about pumps running, will that be continuous pumps? And what would the noise and decibel level of would that be to have pumps running continuously if that's the case? Thank you.
So, if I'm not certain I heard that, but I believe I heard a question about a dock, about docks and how to keep them protected. Is that right?
Yes, if there was some preparation, some way we could protect our docks from becoming embedded in dry mud, what would you recommend maybe at that time? And also about the pumps that you mentioned would be running, would they be continuous? How noisy would they be? Those were the two questions. Thank you.
Gotcha. So on the docks issue, if they're pile-supported docks, they should be okay on their own. If there's piers and posts and everything is fixed,
No,
that should be okay. So
No.
does everything float?
yes,
They're all floating docks.
yes.
To be honest, I deal with this situation fairly regularly on Lake Maumelle as a member of the sailing club there. We strap the floats under and let them sink, and when the water comes back up, we have a dock again. There's really not a better way to do it. The other option would be to float them across to a boat ramp and load them on a trailer. You know, there's not really a pretty thing to do. As far as pumps go, I would anticipate for a long-term project like this, a contractor, especially with power nearby, a contractor would want to use electric pumps as opposed to diesel-driven pumps. So noise shouldn't be a significant issue. A low hum as opposed to like hearing a diesel motor run all the time shouldn't even really be noticeable. No more than a car idling.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else?
Go ahead, sir.
There you go, thank you.
This is John Ross. Are they gonna take out the entire dam or just a section of the dam and then build up to the 41 that you was talking about?
So the entire downstream slope will probably require modification. I don't anticipate cutting out a lot of the existing fill. I don't see that that's going to be necessary or practical. We don't want to drain the lake entirely. And so we want to maintain what you have and just make improvements to it. Now there is some benching where you cut in slopes to make sure things tie together from a geotechnical perspective. That would have to be considered, but you're going to look at the entire width of the dam being improved.
So Jeremy, would that be something like we have at Aztec where it's those two layers or the shelf on the dam? Is that kind of what
So
you're talking about?
it could be, that's known as the downstream bench, and that is something that we might look at. Right now, we're just looking at it from the simplest perspective, which is a solid slope. The other advantage to that is it gives you better maintenance. So instead of having to cut them with weed eaters and prison labor, you can actually mow and maintain good vegetation on a shallower slope. If we can achieve it, saving you a significant amount of money by benching, that's certainly something we can look at. But I don't know that it's necessarily going to be that big a differentiator.
Yeah, I know that the maintenance has been a big part of the issue while we're where we are today, and having those steep slopes and bringing those inmates in has been something we've relied on for many years, but it's not been effective maintenance. When you walked them, we saw that. So, I think we do have to look at the long term.
Yes, ma'am.
Hi there, I'm Shannon Langelier. I live at 160 East Lake Shore. To understand some of the things you said, where are the leaks in this dam exactly?
Just one second. I'll see if I can pull up Google Earth real quick. Can you see the screen in front of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so predominance of these leaks is about mid-slope and down. There's even heavier concentration along this abutment contact, or what's called the groin of the dam. And a lot of it we think is due to the type of terrain that is under the dam. If you go and look down the far end of the spillway, you'll see a bunch of rock pinnacles, and that's known as karst topography. And what it was as nature formed this, it was big, most likely was undersea coral. And so the spaces between those corals got filled with soils, and those soils have eroded away, leaving the karst blocks that are exposed in this channel. We suspect, and our geotechnical studies confirm that the whole area is the same karst material. So before, when the dam was built, we believe they just placed fill on top of the karst and whatever soils had formed inside. And so we think there's some preferential drainage channels that have formed over time, moving water from the pool downstream. With looking at improving the downstream slope, most likely what we would do is try to capture the flow instead of cutting it off. So we would just collect it down here and allow it to go to Cherokee, because the seepage alone is not a problem. It's uncontrolled seepage that is a problem. Uncontrolled seepage moves soil particles, which makes the foundation soils weaker and the slope soils weaker. It also allows for the seismic vibrations to drive the soil particles apart and make the whole slope weaker. So we want to, if we can collect it and measure it and monitor it and see what's going on there, just through drainage systems, we may be able to avoid having to go to a very expensive procedure of putting in a cutoff wall or something similar along the main alignment of the dam, just through capturing and collecting instead of trying to cut off. Something of that nature I anticipate would be very, very significantly more expensive than what you're looking at with the fill of the drainage systems. And also specialty contractors. There are only about 3 in the United States that have the capacity to do that type of work.
Okay, my next question for you is, as I understand it, for the possibility of an earthquake and then the lake giving way, we have to raise the dam higher, and that means that, will our lake level be higher?
Okay, so I'm sorry, I must have, I'm speaking too fast and not making things clear. So the seismic effects, the lake level is not really impacted by. So seismic is just looking at it where it's in static condition. So raising the pool level in the lake or dropping the pool level in the lake does not really impact your seismic capacity, your seismic resistance. For the lake level changes, we're looking at more of the seepage and then the flow capacity. Right now, all the water should be leaving through this spillway, right? And it's moving less than 5,000 gallons per minute. So we've got 25,000 gallons per minute that's trying to leave. And when it does, it goes, we've got the models, I didn't, they're very, very cumbersome. It wouldn't be very interpretable on a meeting like this. But it floods a lot of this area. I believe it inundates part of this home, floods a lot of this area. It gets through a couple of these houses. And it also is coming over the dam at about 2.5 to 3 feet deep, flowing down that face. So what we've got to do is we've either got to protect everything to where it can handle that flow without destroying the dam, or we have to channelize that flow in some way. Make this spillway much larger, have another spillway over here, increase it all the way out through the current parking lot. The other thing we can do is we can consider, okay, if we raise the dam by 2 feet or 3 feet, it buys us a little extra time in the model to run this water out existing structures or smaller structures. It's like adding another pipe to a bathtub drain, right? If it becomes a concern when you overtop the bathtub, we want that overflow drain to help take some of the water.
So looking at the drawings, that shows that you have significant improvements to the dam, which improves Sequoia, as well as raised the level of the water in Lake Cherokee, if that's what I understood.
I'm sorry, I wasn't able to hear that.
It says that the work that you're doing currently looks like it improves Sequoia considerably, as well as the dam, and improves the lake quality and size of the water, of the amount of water in Lake Cherokee.
I think he's asking.
I think that's what we said.
Will the water in Lake Cherokee rise after all this improvement? Is what wrong?
Will the water level, will the permanent water level in Cherokee rise after this? Is that what the question is?
Will it
That would be
raise
nice.
after the improvements?
So the water levels in Cherokee should not change significantly. You're not going to put more water on Cherokee than you have on it now.
Well, the runoff currently right now is making it difficult for some of the individuals living on Lake Cherokee to actually use the lake. So we need to do something to improve that.
I'm sorry, I'm unable to hear.
All right, sir, to continue with my questions, is this on then? Will you mentioned that our level in Sequoia might change.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
after all the work is done and our dam is secured, that our lake level may change. How significantly will it change? Is it estimated?
So that is a decision that is up to the community. So how much can we have to achieve the capacity. If we can achieve that capacity by raising the dam, you can maintain the lake level where it's at. If raising the dam puts homes at risk of flooding, I assume that's going to be something that that community is not going to want. So we would have to increase the capacity by lowering the starting point. And we do that by lowering the spillway.
Okay, well, you know, a lot of people here are discussing doing improvements to their lake wall, but if our lake level is going to change, that, you know, that would be a worthless investment, would it not?
I would not, until we have figured out exactly what we're going to do and what is going to be approved, I would not invest significantly in maintenance of levee walls and things.
Okay, all right. I know you don't have an exact number, but tell us what ballpark, the good scenario for the repair and the bad scenario for the repair.
As far as dollar figures go?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
There's no way this comes in less than $1 million for construction. Honestly, it's probably closer to $5 million. And bad if you have to go through the extreme of having a special contractor come in and put a cutoff wall in. The last project I did that on, it was $3 million just to get the machine on site. So, I mean, you could be 20. But the alternatives are to decommission the dam, and then you have the same kind of issues in Cherokee because you've got more water going to go there. That it's capable of handling as well. So we'll have a better idea when we develop a conceptual plan, and we can develop a conceptual engineer's opinion of probable cost. That will have some unit rates on, things like soil compaction and drainage areas and things like that that we're able to put real numbers to. Right now, all you're getting is my feeling based on some decades of experience and typical construction prices.
Jeremy, while I have you here with everybody, would you mind sharing kind of the changes that are taking place with the state of Arkansas and the resources with dams, some of the new requirements and why we're doing all of this?
Sure. So your dams were built a long time ago before they really cared much. Anybody with a backhoe or bulldozer could come out and build structures pretty much wherever they wanted. That said, there's not much record information. Really, records are non-existent, but they were permitted after the fact, which was fairly common after the founding of the what's now the Arkansas Natural Resources Commission that governs the dams in the state. They were permitted after the fact, I believe in the early 80s, don't quote me on dates. But they're coming up now on the 50-year life cycle renewal for those permits. So every 50 years, the dams are going to have to be re-permitted. In order to do that, based on the hazard classification, which is driven by dam height and water capacity, and also economic loss of life damages potential downstream, and combinations thereof, you are a high hazard dam. And multiple of your dams are high hazard. I believe, is all of them, Betsy, or is it, we have one or two that are not?
No, sir. All 7 dams are considered high hazard dams.
Okay, so with that, you're going to be due for engineering recertification within the next few years. There's a grace period that's still in flex with Whit Montague with the state. She's trying to push that forward. But they're all going to require basically the majority of the stuff that we've had to do for this phase 1 analysis for this project, they're all going to require that same level of due diligence if we understand her guidance as written. Additionally, all high hazard dams have to be certified and inspected and certified yearly by a qualified engineer. Olson is qualified to offer these services, and I would love to do so. It sounds like Betsy may have contracted with someone else previously to do inspections and also guide some previous repairs based on our former company, FTN, did not want to get into the inspection process. But we have made that position change at this point. So they're going to require you to certify the engineering design on these dams and also the hydraulic capacities and things like that, and bring things up to current standards in order to re-permit. If you refuse to re-permit, you could be facing penalty, you could be facing seizure, you could be facing condemnation and removal, restorations of natural stream channels. That's all still up in the air, and that's at the whim of the state board.
We've got another question.
Thank you, Jeremy. I think it's
Yes,
important that the community understands this isn't the same way it's always been. These are additional requirements that are just coming out. When we filled out our paperwork this year for our new permits, it stated in our paperwork that we would follow all the requirements for the high hazard dams. So it's not something we get to pick and choose. We're going to have 7 dams that are going to have to go through this. A lot different than a lot of the other communities. They don't have as many as we do. So this is going to be a huge challenge. We have another question.
Okay, my name is Joyce Ramsdale. I'm at
Joyce Ramsdale.
and I'm 185 West Lake Shore. My question is, is if the first year you're needing to drain the lake just for the engineering and the planning, why does the lakes have to be drained at that time? Why can the lake not be drained just 1 year when it is the construction part of it and we're just without our lake for 1 year instead of the 2 years?
So I don't have to have the lake drain for engineering and design. That's not necessary. The thing is, you are currently, you now know you're at risk for failure in this way, right? So it's a question for the board to decide whether or not, and your insurance carrier, whether or not you need to reduce that risk as opposed to continue to carry the risk just to maintain the lake as it is right now. So that's not a question I can really answer for you. If it was me paying the insurance premiums, I would probably want to lower it, but I'm risk adverse as a person.
We were talking about the money you said.
One question.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
All right, we got another question.
I understand what's going on with Sequoia.
Use the microphone.
There you
I
go.
understand what's happening with Sequoia. Have we looked at the other dams? Are we gonna have to do this with every dam? Or have we had a preliminary research on other dams? Are they leaking? I mean, or are they in good shape? I mean, have they even been looked at?
So in 2024, Betsy contracted with my former employer that was acquired by Lawson, FTN Associates. And we came out and did some inspections on all 7 of your dams, or 6 of the 7 dams. Betsy and the staff did the last one. Of them, this one looked to be in the worst condition. This is one we chose to start with. We don't know what we don't know. We're not seeing as visible as seepage, but as you saw with the factors of safety for seismic and static conditions, seepage is not the only problem here. Rapid drawdown is a significant problem, as well as the seismic. And seismic is not going to change significantly based on the configuration of the dam or the location. It's really driven by the shape of the dam. And we don't even have good survey information to see what those slopes are. We estimate that Sequoia was among the steeper. Cherokee is probably just as steep, but it's really a function of the materials within the dam and the shape of the dam itself. But you are going to have to, in order to comply with the state's current re-permitting mandate, you are going to have to analyze all of them, which will include survey, geotechnical, and hydraulic work.
Any other questions? Do we, concerning the money that we were talking about, we have discussed in the past about we are eligible for grants possibly from the state of Arkansas.
So earlier this year, when I went to the permitting meeting in Little Rock, what she had told me was that 2027, that all my keyboard warriors need to get after it and talk to our state representatives and our Congress. They've made these regulations, and we are one of the few cities that are going to have multiple lakes to have to deal with. So we should be high on the priority for being able to get grant assistance. But we had applied for grant assistance in '24 when we first found the problem. But because of the timing that it takes to be able to get all of this work done, to even be able to present to the state what your plan is, those funds were gone. So we need to be prepared. We need to get letters together. We need to reach out to all of the people that can listen, that can help get us some money going. 2027 will be the year that elections will be coming back around, and we want to make sure that we're talking to the people to help us get some money for these dams. We're also going to need the time. We're not going to be able to do, 7 dams in 3 years. And right now, we have until the end of 2028 with the current permitting requirement, where they gave us 3 years to comply. So we can see how much time we've spent on this one. Yes, ma'am?
Do they start work without money?
No.
So we're gonna have to wait till 2027 to get money?
Well, I think that's all going to depend on what this next phase is going to be. We really haven't received what that phase is. Right now, year to date, I believe when I looked at the August financials, we've invested $145,000 into phase 1. And that's everything. That's putting the road in, the rock work, lodging, anything that was related to the engineers being in town, I have allotted to one line item for an expense. And I believe as of today, it was $145,000. And if I'm correct, Jeremy, not that I'm looking for a bill, but you quoted us much higher than that. I think we saved quite a bit of money on getting the road done locally and those things. So they've worked with us to try to save where we could.
We are going to come in a little bit under budget. There is an item of the scope that we think that it's best to omit at this point. We were planning on coming back and drilling again and putting in some long-term monitoring wells and doing some continual monitoring on those. But at this point, we don't think it's spending your money wisely because it's not even, things are bad enough that this isn't going to nudge it one way or the other. So we don't think it's in your best interest to spend that money.
Was that the piezometers that you were talking about, waiting on
Yes,
resources to
the
approve?
others.
Okay. Was there another question, ma'am?
This is just the
Oh, okay. Anybody else for questions for the engineer?
Did you say yes?
No.
All right, one more question, Jeremy. Thank you.
No problem.
Yes, sir. Thank you. There you go.
Okay, can I just clarify on the scope of the work? As of right now, you're just saying changing the slope on the downside from a 2-to-1 to a 4-to-1? Is that correct? Are you talking about tearing the whole dam out, the road and everything, or just where the spillway is, and possibly increasing the size of the spillways?
So we wouldn't tear the whole dam out. There's no reason for us to take the entire thing out. If we have to we have to raise the dam, we would take the road out and take out a few feet of the fill on top to get a good geotechnical tie to the core and raise the dam from there. The downstream slope improvements would probably include a big drainage layer with some zones for drainage so we can monitor what seepage is coming from where. But that's a big geosynthetic project with clean stone, most likely in piping. Other than that, it's just a large earth fill put in controlled layers using controlled materials.
It's the one that makes it flash. It's the round.
There we go. Well, Jeremy, thank you very much. If we don't have any more questions, now we know, well, we know.
Now we know, but we still don't know.
Thank you, Jeremy.
My pleasure. Y'all have a great evening. If you have anything else, direct it to Betsy, and I'm sure she can send them my way, and I'll reply back through them as quick as I can. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Although we have a report from us, move on to new business.
2026 pricing, this is time.
Well, we'll be doing, homeowner, or property owners again at the end. Just a second. Go ahead.
2020 pricing is what is the last thing on the agenda. It's time for us to get our letters out for our renewals for our boat slips, our golf memberships, health and fitness club, all of that stuff. It's time to look at pricing again.
Okay, so, did you have some different,
Some recommendations.
some recommendations that we can look at for next meeting?
She does, well, no, we didn't get it printed as well.
I have it,
Okay,
I
well,
have it.
without having a chance to really look at them, I mean, I've only seen a few recommendations and without having a chance to,
Well, I emailed these to you a
Yeah,
couple
just-
weeks ago.
just look, recommend it.
And then I think I put in the email just a few items that I thought that we should look at for recommendations. One of those items is to talk about the marina at Sequoia. You know, we had spoke earlier in the year about what the cost would be to move that marina over to Thunderbird. I still think that that would be a smart thing to do so that we can continue to try to accommodate the boats that are on, at the marina there. We have maybe a possibility we could add a few slips to help accommodate other people who maybe need to have a place to put their boats during the drawdown. So that would be something that would need to be considered and talked about. I don't really suggest increasing prices at the marina while all this change is going
So
on.
we're gonna have to bring over the Sequoia dock.
The whole entire marina.
Right. Wayne's here,
She's not.
yeah, and it's
Y'all
gonna,
have not received a bill.
right, it's gonna take probably 2 months for that to happen, he said. So,
So it's something that we need to talk about, and then move it over there, and if we're gonna continue to lease those slips, then that would be something to be discussed. Always, we look at our golf pricing,
trying to find where it's.
It was on September 5th.
I think, did I send you an email about health and fitness? I think we need to relook at that. We need to look at what our expenses are, our utility bills, all of that, and I don't know that 50% is our cut anymore, or maybe our fee goes up, I don't know, but I think that's something else. You've got financials that I gave you through August, and it shows what our expenses are at Unwall and what we're bringing in. So that would be another one I would suggest we look at.
Can we add this, Tony?
Can we add this to our special meeting, so,
That'd be great.
6th, and y'all come
I-
here?
yes.
Okay, all right.
Is this the only ones that you're looking at right there, those three that you said?
Yep.
Okay.
It's the golf.
The golf memberships, the range balls, boat stickers, and,
Okay.
okay.
Boat slips aren't really.
I'm sorry, boats.
I will say that one of the ladies in the office brought up an idea that might help encourage people to get those boat stickers before Memorial Day or the day before the holiday. And that would be to charge a discounted fee for anyone who gets their boat stickers up until May 1st. And then after that would be a little higher charge. That might would help incentivize people to want to come in earlier instead of waiting till the end. That would make things a lot easier for the first holiday on the lake. Would you like it if I sent over my recommendations before the next meeting and then you'd have
Yes.
something to start with?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is there any other new business?
That was it.
Is it?
So we're gonna add, we special meeting
Do we?
agenda.
No. Okay.
No.
All right.
Make your
Yeah,
motion.
make a motion,
Susan,
this
make
is
a
a-
motion to move this to the special meeting on October 6th.
October 6th.
I second.
All in favor? Let's see, well, we're going to commissioners' comments.
Okay, we
Should
need
I
some
anything
more?
there?
Come-
Huh? All right, property owners, another chance for you to talk. You have 3 minutes.
I'll put it on.
I guess I'm just wondering if the council, with all the property owners on Lake Sequoia, one thing, we are gonna incur an expense, storing our boats for a year or two. So I'm wondering if our council would be grateful enough and do something about our SID taxes, since we do pay more being on the lake. So if we're gonna have to pay more SID taxes, we're gonna have a lake we will not be able to use for 2 years. Plus, we're gonna be out the additional cost of storing our boats and boat trailers over at Scott Falls. So I would really hope our council members would take that into account and give us a break for a change.
Maybe go to P218 Lakeshore Drive. On the same note, if you're gonna raise the boat,
No, it was, how you get a discount if you pay up here and.
Oh, no, okay, I thought you said about.
No, I just read the first line, sorry. Let's go. Breathe in.
Incentive to get them early is what we were talking about. There you go, there you go.
Okay, any other comments? If not, let's move on to. Yeah, well, go ahead, come up, please.
Hi, my name is Michael Myers, 173 East Lakeshore Drive. I'm going to be brief, I won't respect your time. Just by looking out at here, most of you already know that I'm running for a seat on the SSI board. However, this is your meeting, it's not my meeting. So I'm here to introduce myself to those of you who do not know me. And after the meeting, go outside and I will stay and answer questions from all of you until all your questions are answered. If you do not have time to wait around, let me give you my business card. You can contact me at your convenience. You can talk on the phone, email, text, I'll meet you in person, I'm glad to do it. Quickly, why do I want to help? Who am I? Folks, the first time I stepped foot in Sheridan Village was 1973. I was 9. Since then, I've been a property owner since 2004. That's 21 years. I've been a homeowner since 2005. That's 20 years. My family's very much vested in this community, and we're never not going to be part of this community. I think I can help. I think it's time for me to do something and be of help. SID. Look, I was going to say something completely different. Look, SID is property owners. We're all property owners. Oh, you're a property owner, I'm a property owner. We're all here today because I believe that, no, scratch that. I know everybody in this room, we're all here because we all want what's best for the village. I have to believe that. Some of us may have different ideas on how to get this all done. We'll get it done. And we got some work to do. That's it. Thank you very much for your time, and I'll be glad to talk with you after the meeting. Let them finish their meeting.
So you're gonna take
What?
Okay, thank you, Mike. Is there anybody else that has any comments? If not, is there any need for executive session? No need, I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, Neville makes a motion to adjourn, do I have a second? Joe Codger seconds, all in favor?
Aye.